So that year, out of anybody in that company, I think there was like, excuse me, 25 people or so in that company, and we all did sort of the same things, just at different places. So I had, like, and I started in June, and out of anybody who actually worked at that company that year, I had the most overtime out of anybody. Like, I had a crazy amount of overtime hours that I put in, over and above, you know, the sort of the 40-hour work week. So in 7 months or whatever, 8 months or whatever it is, 7.5 or something, I had way more overtime than anybody. Like, you know, people weren't even close. And the following year or two after that was the same thing. Like, I worked my butt off. And then I went back and went back to school. It was actually a 12-month program that I went to for my MBA. So I went and did that, and then I came back to the company I was with, and they just, you know, the thing is with companies, and it's good and it's bad in a way, but, you know, I prefer it this way. I prefer being able to move up based on your skill, based on your level of skill, based on your level of desire and commitment that you put forth to the job. I'm not a big fanatic of unions. I know at one time they were there for a reason. They may still, you know, some may still exist for a reason. That's fine. I'm fine with that. I'm not into it. I would rather, you know, you know, I've got a lot of motivation to do things. I've got a lot of motivation, and when I do things, I commit to doing them, and I try to do them as best I can. And I really, really commit to it. So, where the hell was I? So anyways, yeah, I prefer being able to move up in a company based on the skills that you have, how you've developed, the things that you do. It's based on, you know, it's not just based on the fact that I've been there longer than somebody else. If somebody else is showing more incentive and more skill and more ability than I am, then they should move up ahead of me. By all means, you know what? You get the promotion, I don't. Because I don't have the skills or I didn't show enough motivation to do it. So I prefer that type of environment. But, you know, again, there are times where you sort of get screwed by that. And, I mean, I got sort of kind of screwed over by the company I was working at, and I ended up going out on my own. Me and a couple other guys started our own business. Because I really didn't want to work for, you know, I didn't want to work for these guys. I had the opportunity to stay with them, but in a role that I really didn't want. So I didn't stay, and I went out on my own. So developed my own business, and it was related to the same thing. It was like an automation business that me and a couple other guys started. So there's 3 of us, and then there ended up being 2 of us, and it was successful for a time. You know, but again, manufacturing and especially automotive, you know, has its big ups and downs. I mean, the business cycles are just ridiculous. And we got involved in a big project, like a big project that was actually spanned. It was basically with one place, but it was like 3 or 4 projects that were really huge. So we ended up focusing a lot of our effort. We had, I think, 7 people at the time. We got the company built up to about 7 people, and it just, you know, overwhelmed all of us, including these other companies that we were partnered with. We were partnered with a machine builder at the time, and we just got in really, really deep into this project, and we weren't doing enough sales outside of it, just primarily because we didn't have time and we didn't have the capacity to be able to do anything. Like, you know, that's the problem with the sales cycle in that business, is that, you know, sometimes it takes long, but then sometimes you get jobs right away, and it's, you know, how do you manage it? Like, managing all the jobs and your personnel, it's just crazy. So we came out of it not having done sales, and everything just dried up, like instantly dried up in manufacturing in you know, in our part of Ontario here. You know, some people you know, had recurring business that kept them going, but everybody felt it. Everybody felt it, and especially over the past couple of years with the whole financial crisis and stuff. I mean, companies were laid to waste. Like, a lot of companies were laid to waste. And a lot of people, you know, lost their jobs. And it's not just in manufacturing, obviously. So, at the time, this was like a number of years ago, and what had happened, like, I was actually traveling an hour to work, hour back to home, because of the company that we were working with, and we had offices in their location and everything. So we ended up, you know, some of our guys left. I mean, they obviously saw what was happening, and we had to let go the rest of them, basically. And there was just myself and a couple other guys that were sort of had partnered, or were partners in a couple of companies. We actually had 3 different companies running at that time. And, you know, just for personal reasons, I didn't want to have to rebuild, especially, you know, I was starting a family and everything. I didn't want to have to rebuild an hour away, because that's like 2 hours. You know, I know a lot of people commute, but I want to be with my family. I don't want to, you know, not only am I working a lot of hours, but I gotta commute for 2 hours a day. That just cuts into, you know, I wanted to have a better family life than that, and not have to travel as much every single day. I did it for a couple of, you know, 2 or 3 years I did it, and it's like, no. So I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go back, stay, you know, in the London area and do my thing. So it was me for the longest time, and I wasn't gonna hire anybody. See, I don't know, I just find that a lot of people that we employed, you know, if I go back to my time, my day, when I was working at that Ford plant, like, I put in a ridiculous amount of hours. I mean, there was no question. If it needed to happen, and I was the only one available to do it, to be honest. I mean, I only ever asked for help one time, but it was because there was a bunch of stuff, like ongoing stuff, that needed handling and needed regular maintenance or regular babysitting, let's put it that way. Plus, these guys wanted like 3 or 4 other projects to be in at the same time. I just didn't have the time to do it, so I actually got some help. But, you know, outside of that, like, I worked my ass off. But running a company is totally different, and I don't know if it had to do with the people that we were hiring, like, or the generation or whatever. But it was a huge pain in the ass to get the people that we hired to work over their, you know, I mean, not too bad during the week to work overtime, but to work on a weekend, it was like pulling teeth, man. It was like pulling teeth with these guys. And that's, you know, and I'm sorry, like the one guy, hopefully he never sees this video. No, I'm just kidding. You know, the one guy, his wife was just a control freak, and, you know, I'd ask him to work overtime and be like, oh, well, I'll have to call my wife and ask her. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. I mean, it's cool if you're gonna let me know later, but I don't want to hear that you need to ask your wife for permission to work overtime. Like, don't, you know, go ask her if you have to. You know, tell me, hey, I'll let you know. Give me whatever, half an hour, or whatever. I'll let you know. No, it's like, well, I gotta check with my wife. She might not like it. I don't know if I can. I don't want to hear that. But anyways, so that was another part of the reason that I didn't want to really build a company. Just because of, you know, I don't know. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just the guys we were hiring. But, you know, I got that a lot. That is sort of, I don't know if it had to do with the generation of people, or, you know, my generation. I don't know. I have no idea. Anyways. Whoa, that guy went down. What do I got there? Oh, ammo. Yes, I got ammo for my flamethrower. Hopefully this isn't boring you, but it's actually, it's good to talk about. I like talking about this. Hopefully you guys don't mind me talking about this over this gameplay. So, anyways, that's what happened. So I went and started working on my own, and I was always one to try and do things.
If you like this video, you may want to check out a few of these. At the top, we have Guns for Hire on the Gun Shop, talking about the Xbox 720 with Windows 8. Next off, on NGTZombies, we have Spiderbite, Hypermole, Mewagon, and myself playing a custom PC map called Banjai. And last off, we have on NGT Games, Spiderbite playing Crysis 2 on the PC in 1080p. Click the corresponding thumbnails to watch the videos.